Chip here again with another bit on alchemy. This morning I'm going to look at the Alembic, the special oven that all alchemists use to make their formulas. The Alembic is essentially an element battery. You can trade in elements to make a new Alembic, or you can trade in an Alembic to get elements back. Let's look at this in more detail. Alembics are essentially worth 4 or 2 elements depending on what you're doing with them. They're kind of like an element battery. So as the second part of your turn, after you empty your Alembics, you can do one of 2 things. It's optional, you don't have to. You can either take 4 elements and discard them from your lab to make a second Alembic. Or if you have 2 Alembics and you really need a single particular element, you can sell an Alembic back, and that allows you to go through the discard pile and take any 2 elements. And so if you need fire or you need earth, you can go through and take those 2 elements without having to trust the luck of the draw. So here's one instance in which you might want to make a second Alembic. So this is the beginning of my turn. So the first thing I do is I empty my Alembic. So I have a silver in my lab. I've got 6 elements and 1 Alembic. Now if I look at my hand, I have a bunch of materials, including a bunch of 2 and 1 casting cost materials here. So I don't have to draw from my formula stack in the near future. And having a second Alembic would allow me to cast these much more quickly. So as the second part of my turn, I'm going to make a second Alembic. So my mercury needs an earth and a water, so I'm going to save those, but I'm going to discard the other 4 elements and make myself a second Alembic. And then I proceed with my turn. I can go ahead and make my mercury formula with my last 2 elements. Now that I'm at the end of my turn, I have an empty Alembic, but no more elements, no more ingredients. Since I'm not going to have to draw from my formula stack, I can immediately go ahead and put 4 elements in my lab, and I'm good for my next turn. So here's a situation in which I can use the Alembic to get an element that I need. So here I am at the beginning of my turn, and I really want to play a gold. And I've got metal, and I've got essences, but I don't have any fire. I need a fire. And so I don't want to wait until my next turn and hope that I draw a fire at the end of this turn. So what I'm going to do is, as the second part of my turn, after I empty my Alembics, I'm going to take an Alembic and essentially sell it back. And when I sell the Alembic back, that means that I can go through the discard pile and take any 2 elements. And so I look through the discard pile, and there's my fire. And I'm going to go ahead and take a second fire while I'm at it. And now I can proceed with my turn, and I have the fire. So I can make my gold formula, discard an essence and a metal and a fire, and use my remaining Alembic to make the gold.